Hello, I'm Mortal Smurf, and one of the things that frustrates the most in Rimworld that I find really tedious is when I make something like a smelter, and it's like I want to make build to smelt everything bio-coded, smelt everything tainted, smelt garbage weapons like spears, destroy all bows, then smelt metal slags. It's just going to take me forever to make all these bills and set them up right. But instead, I'm going to talk about a mod that lets you do that automatically if you save it ahead of time. It's called KV Save Storage Outfit Crafting. I'll share that link in a second, but instead of having to make all those bills, I can just hit load bill, smelt all above, bam, that's all done. Smelt bio-coded, smelt tainted, destroy tainted, smelt garbage weapons, haven't suspended. Destroy bows, smelt metal from slag. Easy, done. Also amazing. When you go to the assignment tab on this, whatever is the top thing on this list, that is the default for all new colonists, guests, and prisoners. So prisoners automatically get the lavish food policy. You probably don't want that. I want to switch the positions of lavish and simple on this. And it's really easy with KV Save Storage and Load. You can load in other things. So let's just go to the simple thing policy and let's load lavish. And let's go to lavish, load simple. Boom, we have switched simple and lavish. Now prisoners automatically get set to the simple meal policy, just like new colonists and guests will. It applies to all new colonists, guests, and prisoners. The top one. Same thing for drugs. They'd all get the default policy. And for drugs, what I like to do is set drugs to the safe dose interval and on a schedule. So beer, what is the safe dose interval for beer? That's every day. So let's set it every day to like 40%. And then let's do it for tea. No. We don't need to do this. Load. Drug policy. Bam. Done. Let's set this one to have people put in an inventory. Done. Oh, some people have shifted schedules like neurotic and stuff like that. Oh, done. Steadfast. Look, they're all lower. Easy stuff. Even with bills for children, we got set up. And these are bills I have set up ahead of time. You would need to save and load your own policies that you can customize. I'm going to be uploading a text file, or I'm sorry, a folder of all of my save storage settings so you can load in mine, but you absolutely should customize your own. And I'll show you that mod. There's going to be a link to the description. So if you, if you come to the Steam Workshop or you just search for KV Save Storage, you'll probably find this one. It's made by Kiami Vivacity, but they are no longer modding in Rimworld. They last updated 1.3. But so someone has updated to 1.4. You want to find KV Save Storage 1.4. I'll have a link to this directly in the description below. And even if you find this one, there's a link right to this one right here. So this is the one you want. I have heard that this person, Taranchuk, is also not modding. So in the future, in 1.5, hopefully someone will take up the cause and update this mod. And if so, I will update the description for the future. But as of right now, this one works, and it is fantastic. I highly recommend you give this a try, and I'll show you my settings for it as well. So there'll be a link in the description to my settings. Oh, excuse me. So how this works, let's go to the cremator, and let's just check out how you can do this. So let's say you made a cremator, and you want to cremate do forever human corpses. And then we want to cremate burn apparel, do forever painted clothing. And then we want to burn rotten animal corpses. So we have just set up a bill or bills to do human corpses, tainted clothing, and then rotten animal corpses. And let's say we're making our smelter and we want to move this over. So let's take this bill here. Let's save it. We'll just save it simply, name it X. And then let's come over to this one, hit load, load X. Bam, done. We just moved over all those bills from one to the other. And as you can see, I have a bunch saved ahead of time. So we'll just get rid of that one. And there's also an append button. So let's say we have a stove and we're a tribal setup like this. So let's load a bunch of bills. I have one set up, meals for 5. Done. So now we have a bunch of meals, and I have these set up to do animal products, meat, vegetarian, doesn't matter. Then we want to add in, if we load the bill, and if I add in infinite pemmican, if I just hit load, it'll erase what I had, and now it's only making pemmican. So we want to put those meals back. After the meals are done, append, make infinite pemmican. And after the pemmican's done, append, hit T. So we've appended the bills to the bottom of each other. And now we're making meals. When meals are done, make pemmican. When pemmican is done, make tea. And we can save this whole setup, save it like this, and we can load it right here. And now both the stoves, rocking, done, instant. Very, very cool. One quick note, there is a minor issue when you come to clothing assignments. When you load in an outfit, so I like to use default worker as the top one. When you load it, it will change everything, but it doesn't save the name. So clothing assignments don't automatically get the name. That's the only issue I found. So I have made my own starting defaults. There'll be a link to it below. The link should bring you right here to my Google Drive, and there's a save folder, and you just hit download right here. And once you download it, you'll have a zip file that just says a folder that says save storage settings, and in the folder are all of my defaults. And where you place that, if you from Rimworld go menu, options, either open save data folder or open log folder, they both go to the same place. So let's hit that. And here is my save folder. And if you just go back one to Rimworld Ludian Studios, you should see folders that look like this. And you may not have a save storage folder. So this is mine. I already have one, but let's pretend I don't. So if you don't have one, this is where you would drop your save storage thing. So from the download, let me work my. So I'm going to take it. Then I just downloaded this zip file. So this is the Mortal Save Storage zip, save storage settings, and we're just going to drop it right there. And that is how you would bring it in. If you already have this folder, you could just open the folder. I would suggest making a backup first. So let's copy this. I'm just going to get Control-C, Control-V. Now I have a copy that's a backup. So let's just delete all these, if you already have some. And we can open up these save storage ones, hit Control-A to grab all, and drop them in. And that way you can have mine right here, and if you wanted to go back to yours would be a backup right there. So if you didn't like mine, you want to go back, just delete it, and you're back to yours. So that's how you would load in my save storage settings, but I highly recommend you customize your own. Mine will not work with lots of mods. So for example, if you have, maybe you added kangaroos to your game from Vanilla Expanded, when you load in mine, if you have kangaroos, kangaroo meat would not be checked. So when I come to the meat thing, there'd be whatever modded meats you have wouldn't be checked. So it wouldn't work immediately with modded stuff, but you can just customize, make your own with mods. I've made lots of default things, customize your own, how to download. Let me see. I probably made lots of mistakes in mine, so let me know if I made any mistakes. Let me know if you want to. You should absolutely edit things, of course. I have set most of the bills to only have a radius of 50. That helps with performance for me, the way I play, a little bit. You may want to adjust the radius on some things, either smaller or larger. I'm going to go real quickly through the things I have set. So I have clothing assignments, and the clothing assignments I have are a worker policy, one that wears about flak level armor. So it wears best helmet available. I usually check flak armor, flak pants, and regular worker stuff. Melee, it can wear any armor, and it wears a shield belt, and nudist is just nudist stuff. On my food policies, for all of them, I have unchecked chocolate and insect jelly. They only provide recreation, they don't give a mood boost, and there are tons of other more viable sources of recreation as you progress in the game, like the instruments from royalty, televisions, telescopes, drugs. So I really, until you get ultra late in the game, even then, I don't think chocolate and insect jelly are worth eating. So I just remove all them. So all of my policies have that, and I put them in alphabetical order. These lists will always be in alphabetical order, and I have named them so they come up in the right order. I like to have simple meal as the default. So when I start the game, I just load in simple, I load fine, I load lavish, and I load paste, and we're done, and all my policies are updated. Like for paste, I removed pemmican from the default paste bill because pemmican, for some reason, is checked on paste, and people prefer pemmican over paste. Pemmican counts as a simple meal. I've also removed milk because milk's fine to be eaten raw, berries are fine to be eaten raw, so I've changed those for paste. On the drug policy bill, I got tons of changes. So I have a default no carry where people won't put stuff in their inventory. So if you get a guest, they won't come put goat juice in their inventory. But for the standard drug policy, they put lots of drugs in their inventory. The gist of this policy is don't have mental breaks. Instead, take drugs. These are all set to the adult safe dose intervals. I'm supposed to make a long drug guide at some point. I'll eventually get around to it, hopefully. This is sort of like the biphasic schedule for drug assignments. It is not the best one, but it's very, very good for everybody. You should absolutely customize it yourself. Like one of the ways you should customize this is at the start, I like to have panoxycillin every 6 days. Panoxycillin lasts lasts 5.5 days. So this has a tiny gap in coverage, but it lasts longer this way. As the game progresses, you should switch this to 5, but I just started at 6. If for some reason you have tons of ambrosia, but not a lot of beer, you should put ambrosia above beer, like switch these percents. If you have 1 billion ambrosia and you want people to take it all the time, slide it way up. You may want people to take tea way more than this. Maybe you have a ton of tea. So maybe slide this up to like 75%. You should absolutely adjust this, but use this. These are great standard starting default policies. Things like neurotic, steadfast, volatile, they all have shifted things. So I have shifted policies for all of them. So for example, neurotic, if we just load that one, all these numbers are shifted higher because neurotic has higher mental break threshold things. But if we go to steadfast, it's all shifted. These percents are lower. Steadfast has lower mental break thresholds, so they don't need to take drugs as often. Children have different safe dose intervals. So I have set up for children, and yes, these numbers are correct. Children 3 to 8, and then 9 to 12, and then 13 to 17. And yes, the growth tiers are 3 to 7, and then 8, 9, 10. So these body sizes don't line up with the growth tiers. These are correct. And if you go to the safe dose interval on drugs, so if we look up a safe dose interval, it'll have these numbers for children. These are actually wrong. These numbers are bugged. You should use these ones I have here, or I can show you a chart real quick. I'm pretty sure, hopefully I used the chart correctly. Safe dose interval for children. Let me bring up a picture of that for you. So someone made this nice picture. These are the actual safe dose intervals for children. And I used this chart to make the ones I have. So we have safe dose intervals for children of various age groups. And I tried to alphabetize the list so it goes into a reasonable order. And then I've got lots of cool bills for things like cooking. So that's for 1 for Naked Brutality, for 3 for Crash Landed. I have lots of different bills. So this one is animal products, and then it does meat, and then it does vegetarian, and then it does all of the above. You may want to reorder or suspend these. Like if you only want them to cook vegetables in the meals, leave the animal products and meat for survival meals. Like do this, so it's only vegetarian. You can just delete the other ones. Reorder as you want. I usually have animal products first because meat goes into pemmican and animal products don't. So I like to use the animal products first, and then meat and vegetarian goes into pemmican or whatever. And then I usually like append infinite pemmican. If you try to do like infinite survival meals and you don't have it unlocked, it'll just say it can't do that. So that's no big deal. So I'm gonna do that. So there's lots of cool stuff for food. There's a bunch of we don't have the research unlocked. Let me unlock the research, finish all research. So for clothing, I have tons of cool clothing, automatic ones for button-down shirts, pants, and dusters, and I have it broken down by leather type. You may want to change these leather types. So if you do best only, it's going to make sure you have one button-down shirt, one pants, and one duster made out of Thrumbo Fur, Devil Strand, or Hyper Reeve all the time. You'll have one extra all the time. I really highly recommend you don't use count equip. You instead use the one extra method. And instead, you could do good or meh, and that'll do like bearskin, blue fur, camera hide, all these. If you just wanted the good one, you could just do good only. And it'll make sure you always have one of those out of bearskin, elephant, heavy, panther. So I've sort of tiered the clothing, the materials, and it'll automatically make you a set of clothing out of whatever materials you choose. I don't include hats because it's very customizable what hat you'd want, and usually you want simple helmets, but if for some reason you want cowboy hats or toques or whatever, you should make those on your own, but those are whatever. And eventually you may want to make infinite capes or infinite dusters or infinite vests out of all your excess materials. So I have a bunch of those set up. So if you only want to make infinite vests or corsets out of really bad material, you can just append that on. So let's say I want to make clothing out of good or meh. And then when that's done, make infinite vests out of crappy stuff. There you go, done. And append some kid clothing to it too. And you can switch either romper or tribal wear as you care about. So there's cool stuff for that one, and there's cool stuff for all these things. There's automatic component making, blah, 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 blah. There's a bunch of junk. For shelves and for freezer, I made some things that I like to have at the start, but you should absolutely make your own storage save things for these. So I have a bunch that you can use as default, but you should make your own. Absolutely customize these things. So that's the basics of KV Save Storage and Load. Hopefully I've covered everything. There'll be links to the description. Hopefully I'll keep it updated. Mortal Smurf, thank you for hanging out.